Hey, rock stars. Welcome to Tuesday Night Madness, BOGO Week shenanigans. Everyone's still on quarantine. We're all going a little bit crazy. Please help us all. We're in for a surprise tonight. I'm excited. Dana so graciously offered to help us learn about how emotions affect our physical bodies. This is something that I've been so fascinated with for so long. I don't know if any of you guys have read the book Feelings Buried Alive, Never Die, by Carol Truman. Excellent book. Um, anyway, something that's been on my mind, and I thought we could chat about it because that's something that we're really helping people with right now. There's a lot of people dealing with all kinds of emotions, right? Dealing with all kinds of things happening to them. So Dana's going to talk to us about that, and then she has a fun little surprise that she's going to share with us, and you guys can get in on. So Dana, take it away.
Alrighty. Okay, so can I screen share?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I can't do these things without a PowerPoint because I will never stay on topic. So.
I can't see it yet. There it is.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So let me
Look at this.
get that started. All right, you guys. So you got some of my favorite topics going on here. So your physical emotions, right? Because everything that you think emotionally is something that you physically feel and experience in your body. There's nothing that happens to you that doesn't have a physical reaction. So I got lots of slides, you guys. So fun. So are you ready to feel good more often? So these first couple of slides, I kind of grabbed a couple images off the Essential Emotions class handout, which is something that you guys all need to be familiar with because there's a lot of really good graphics on there, right? I mean, like this is just like so easy for you guys to talk about because not everybody needs to know all of the things that I'm going to go into tonight, right? It's kind of one of those things where you start out super, super basic because this is all that people really need to know, especially when they are coming from nothing, right? So, I mean, you've got 3 brains in your body, and ironically, you guys, you have 3 diaphragms as well, just saying. The science reveals that there are complex neural processing functions in the mind, heart, and gut, right? Your mind, it's the director, right? Your subconscious mind directs over 90% of behavior, which if you guys haven't done any of the Deb Erickson work that Burke and Natalie are offering through Rising Tides, you guys need to do that. So incredibly good, so very powerful. They get you, Deb has these trainings that really get you talking through and stating positive manifestations, right? Because most of our responses and initial reactions are all negative. So it's just really like resetting yourself and reading through them time and time again. Like, I am good, I am smart, I am beautiful, I am successful, I am silver, I am diamond, I am presidential diamond, I am whatever, right? And just continuously telling yourself these things. I am healthy, I am happy, I am well, all of those kinds of things to change your subconscious into being a more positive instead of negative. Your heart is the discerner, okay? You have more neural pathways going from the heart to the brain than vice versa. Super, super powerful, right? And then your gut is your processor, which is where 90% of your serotonin and the feel-good chemicals are produced. So we'll talk a little bit about diet. That's not going to be very much of what I talk about, but it's really, really important to make sure that you're eating and nourishing your body so that your gut is getting the good food to produce feel-good chemicals and emotions instead of all of the processed and digestive crap, right? Because your gut's the processor. You don't want to give it processed junk. So feelings are really chemicals that can help or hurt. I like that one. So when everything's working good, you got your 3 brains feeling good, but really, especially right now, you guys, it's a little bit more like this because we've got so many life experiences, right? I mean, I was like totally lady number 1 right there today, right? I had both of my kids in my office all over me. I was on the phone with different people because it's BOGO week. I was trying to get this together because Kenzie just asked me yesterday to do this. And I'm like, sure. So I'm like, oh, quick, I got to make a PowerPoint. So it was all good. But then, you know, I mean, all the things. Plus I have 3 dogs and a cat. And right, people stopping by, people doing this. And then all of a sudden my teenager's like, okay, I'm leaving. I'm like, where do you think you're going? Well, she went to the grandparents, which caused my little ones to have a meltdown because they're freaking out because they haven't been allowed to go to the grandparents. So then it became this whole thing of, why can they go and not me, right? All the things. So then you have all of these mom feelings happening right now, right? I've got to figure this out. What am I going to do with the littles? What about the teenager? What am I going to do? When am I going to do the PowerPoint? When am I going to do this? And then you start to feel a little bit overwhelmed, except I have the tools and I didn't get overwhelmed today. And I didn't get that feeling of I'm stuck because of the tools, right? But when you don't have the tools that we have, I can't even tell you the number of times that I would just stop dead in my tracks and just go curl up on the couch and watch a movie with my kids because that's all they wanted me to do. So many times. You know, and then your gut, right? Your processor, you get constipated. You get physically constipated when all of these other things are making you feel emotionally stuck. It affects your gut. Okay. So then you have this reaction, right? You've got your head tension, unsettled, conflicted feelings, and your belief is I'm not good enough, right? But we've got to change those beliefs. And this has been the crucial one for me with Deb Erickson stuff, because my number two, right? Because I'm obsessed with Clifton Strengths right now because of leadership. My number two is belief. My number one is developer. My number two is belief. And now that I've learned from Deb how to change those beliefs and that self-talk, right? It's made a huge difference. So what do we need to weed out? Okay. You guys know that handout, most of you do at least. And if you don't, let's get it in your hands. But, okay, what is stress? Okay, so we're gonna break it down a little bit. We're gonna kind of take it back to basics, a little bit sciencey, a little bit psychology, because I was a psych major before I went to chiropractic school, you guys. So I love all the things. But stress is either temporary and acute, or it's chronic threats or challenges, right? Now, they may not actually be bad things, right? It's going to be your perception of them that makes the difference. So if you see it as a challenge, right? Something that, oh, I can beat this. I got to do this, right? It can be a positive thing where it can build you up and push you to do more and do better. Or if it's seen as a threat, then you're going to start having a lot of the conflicting sympathetic feelings. Okay. It's going to cause harm and create long-term physiological conditions that you're going to have to reset your homeostasis with. Homeostasis is that big happy word for your body's happy and it's where it's supposed to be. Okay. So what is the history of stress? Okay. It was kind of first acknowledged and understood in 1929. And it was basically considered a unified mind-body connection, right? So even 100 years ago, they made this connection that the mind and body have a huge correlation. It was observed that the extreme cold, lack of oxygen, and emotional incidents led to an outpouring of epinephrine and norepinephrine from the inner cortex of the adrenal glands, okay? So next slide, you guys are gonna see, right? So this is your sympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic is your fight or flight response. It increases your heart rate. It increases your breathing, your respiration. It stops blood from going to your digestive system, right? It stops that rest and digest, which is why you get that, the processor gets stuck, right? Because blood flow is not going there, so it's not working. And it goes to your skeletal muscles. It dulls pain, which is why people are able to do kind of some superhuman things, right? You hear those stories of, oh my gosh, there was this major accident and these people just flipped a car over. It's because it dulls your pain. It releases sugar and fat from storage in good situations, right? Some people, when it becomes chronic, it actually becomes the opposite, where it starts to store it instead of releasing it. But I talked about the inner cortex of the adrenals. You also have the cerebral cortex via the hypothalamus and the pituitary, right? That's sending a glucocorticoid to the outer cortex of the adrenals, releasing cortisol. Okay, so we've talked about cortisol quite a bit, like especially with the adaptive, right? So this is your fight or flight. Your fight or flight's your withdrawal, your pull back, you're trying to conserve energy, you know, all those different things, right? It's not necessarily fight or flight, you know, because some people are just like, yeah, what happened, right? Like in the situation of a death, or right now, like we're just kind of sitting here, like we're in our little shells, we're stuck in our houses, and we're just kind of like shaking, like, what am I supposed to do? I can't deal with this anymore. But I loved this term that came out of my psych book called tend and befriend, right? And this is huge for women. So, you have your fight or flight, right? You're like, oh my gosh, my kid jumped out at me and you kind of want to, I'm super, super, super sensitive to that kind of stuff, right? If my kids jump out at me, I'm one that's going to jump and scream like that, which they love. But that's my hyped up sympathetics. I'm still working on bringing that baseline down. But the tend and befriend, right? That's how women process it, by giving support when we don't know what to do, when there's an emergency, right? What are we doing? We're making rollerballs and giving them away. We are texting everybody and saying, oh my gosh, do you need serenity? Do you need balance? You need this, you need that, which they do because it's BOGO. So I'm not saying it's bad, but it's still a stress response for a lot of people, right? When there's a death, women make food and bring food, and can I clean your house and let me take the kids, all the different things. So in a fight or flight situation, epinephrine hands out the guns. Okay. It's your go time, but the glucocorticoids releasing the cortisol, those are the ones that are doing that blueprint, right? So all of the worst case scenarios, right? That's coming from the glucocorticoids and the cortisol, while the epinephrine's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Okay. So you've got that, and it's all coming from the adrenals. See where this is going with the adrenals? Adrenal fatigue, right? So what happens during a stress response, right? You've got 3 phases. You have alarm, okay? You've got your sympathetic triggers that release epinephrine and norepinephrine. The cerebral cortex, right? It perceives the stressor, which then orchestrates through the hypothalamus and the pituitary the release of the glucocorticoids. Your arteries widen, okay? Your arteries get bigger to increase the blood flow to the skeletal muscles, right? It decreases it to the digestive system, increases it because that's your body's way of saying, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here. Because really, this is super, super, super like caveman era, right? I mean, it literally was survival of the fittest, and holy cow, there's a bear. I got to get the heck out of here, right? And you literally had to physically fight or flight. Your lungs work harder to increase your oxygen intake, ideally, right? You're getting more oxygen, you're not hyperventilating. Your heart beats faster to pump more blood to get more oxygen to the muscles. Your muscles tensen up, right? Because they're going to work, and your digestion shuts down. Okay, that's kind of the nuts and bolts, the nitty gritty of it, right? So you got gas. This is your general adaptation syndrome. Okay, and in one response, it's not all bad, because there's going to be an alarm, which is phase 1, which we just talked about, right? But then phase 2 is kind of where it gets a little messy, okay? Your general adaptation syndrome was developed by Hans Selye, and I love this description of it. It's like a single burglar alarm that sounds no matter what intrudes, okay? So it doesn't matter what the stress is, your body is always gonna have the same response. It could be like a kid waking up crying during the night, or it could be, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get hit by a car, or somebody died, or all the different things, right? It doesn't matter what the trigger is, it's always going to be that burglar alarm and how your body reacts with the stress. So you have your alarm reaction, which mobilizes the resource, that slide we just talked about, right? The blood flow, the heart rate, all that stuff. So phase 2 is resistance. Okay, this is when you cope with the stressor. So this is when things stick around and you constantly have the stressors that you're not able to process well. Okay, your temperature stays warmer, your blood pressure stays up, your respiration, your breathing stays high, pumps out the hormones big time. And if it stays, you end up in phase 3, which is exhaustion. Okay, it depletes your reserves and it increases your vulnerability to illness, collapse, death, right? And that's when you get all of the other things, right? Your thymus gland is going to go down, your thyroid's going to go down, your ability to detox is going to go down, all of the things which increase all of your vulnerability to sickness. Okay. Now, you guys know me, I do my AK stuff. So if you've seen my things before, here's a few little tidbits for you. Okay. These are going to be some of the muscles that you're going to be thinking about. These are going to be areas that you're going to be want to put on your deep blue, or, right, some other ones that you're not going to think about, right? If you have stress related tension, while I love deep blue and all the things, right, you can still do like adaptive and serenity and balance and massage them on the stress related tension muscles. Okay. So one's related to stomach. They're going to be shoulder and neck. Okay. So your pec major clavicular. So I don't know if you guys can see me or not because I can't see myself. So pec major clavicular. Okay. It's going to be the muscle that goes from here to here. Okay. So it's going to be the one that does this action. This is your pec major clavicular. So you're going to massage right in here. Okay. Your SCM, your sternocleidomastoid, one of my favorites to say, right? It goes from your mastoids behind your ears, that bone, and it comes down to this junction right here. Okay. Your sternum clavicular junction. Okay. So it's that muscle right here, but all your neck flexors and all your neck extensors, right? That's why everybody feels so much tension in their neck when you're stressed because your stomach shuts down. So those muscles are like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Right? And then your supinator and your pronator teres, which are forearm ones. Okay. It's the ones that do these actions. It's the rotation in and out of your arm and wrist. So they're like right in here. Your brain, there's one muscle that coordinates to the brain. That's a supraspinatus. And your heart is the subscapularis. Okay. So they each only have one. The adrenals are ones that work on the knees. Okay. So that's why, you know, when people say knee stuff, I always go to what is your stress level like, right? All knee pain, I always assess stress for people. Emotional stress, physical stress, all the things. Dietary as well, because a lot of digestive muscles also connect to the knee. But the gracilis, they're adductors, right? So bringing your knees together, that's the gracilis. Sartorius goes from the hip down to the inside of the knee. That's a huge one. That's a huge player in hip pain and knee pain. And it's all stress and adrenal, okay? Soleus and gastrocnemius are your calves, okay? So extra tension in your calves, those cramps that people get, right? The, what's what I'm looking for right now? Charlie horses in your calves, right? Think stress. Are there questions? Sorry. Yeah, I know, right, Shannon? So, oops, okay, sorry, hang on. How do I close that? Okay, so that's those. So now, what are stressors, right? You guys know what your stressors are, but look at this list and look at how much this is every single American's everyday life right now. This is why what we do is so important, okay? Significant life changes. I would like you to tell me a single American that has not had one, because there isn't one. Catastrophes. Hello, we're living in the middle of a pandemic. Daily hassles. Kids are home from school. Everybody's doing this weird, messed up homeschool, from school thing. Okay. There's a fear of sickness, and there is sickness. Finances are insane because people aren't able to work normally. Parenting and divorce issues, right? I mean, shoot, parents are home at the same time with kids going crazy. So you've got all of that kind of stuff. You've got physical exertion because who knows what the heck is happening. Hopefully people are getting some good exercise. But you also have stagnation and people not exercising, which is going to ultimately stress the body as well. But then relationships, right? I mean, relationships are huge. Actually, more as a stress reliever. Yes, relationships can be a stressor, but I meant to put that one more in a category of stress relieving. Like for me, my husband's like, good Lord, when do you have another sizzle? You need to go hang out with those people because you need to calm down. I'm like, yeah, I know. We should have sizzles every night, you know, but that's not always realistic. So where does it leave your body, right? It leaves you at an increased risk of heart disease. It slows your healing of wounds or anything. For women, okay, here's the thing. Women are technically immunologically stronger than men. So yeah, that's the thing, right? You're never going to convince me that you can choose your gender. You're not, because there is just chemical differences. Women are immunologically stronger than men, period. Which ironically leaves them more susceptible to autoimmune problems because of stress. Okay, because since it's stronger, if it's attacked, right, through that gas, that general adaptation process, it's going to bring you down so much more than it does men. Okay, a little bit crazy, but it's real. And it leaves you increased susceptibility to illness and disease, like I just mentioned, because of two different reactions, okay? If you have too strong of a reaction, you're gonna have that autoimmune, right? It's gonna attack your own tissues. You can end up with arthritis and allergies. Allergies are huge, huge, huge adrenal response, which is why you see, when you look in the Symphony of the Cells book, you don't see allergies listed very quickly under the respiratory. You see them under lymphatic. So you're going to go with more of a lymphatic response to allergies than you are a respiratory. Okay. There's another little tidbit for you. And then the opposite, right? Underreacting, not having enough of a reaction, which causes you to end up having an eruption of a dormant virus, right? Kind of a good example of that is going to be like shingles, right? Kind of lies dormant, but then it rears its ugly head every now and again. And cancer cell multiplication. Okay, cancer is a huge thing from stress because they're damaged cells. And if you're not responding enough, then that's just going to multiply and get out of control. So, oh my goodness, what do we do, right? Everybody's going to start to panic, right? No, first, you need to pray and need to meditate, okay? Matthew 6, right? I tell you not to worry about your life, what you'll eat or drink, about your body, what you'll wear. Is not life more than food and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or stow away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can anyone by worrying add a single hour to your life? Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Am I right? Way too much trouble. So first, right? Remind yourself, don't worry, get out your positive affirmation page, read through that, say, write things on there. I am calm. I am happy. I am content. Everything is taken care of. God is in control. Whatever you need to say, right? Anything to counteract feelings of worry or fear or whatever. Write down the opposite. Read it all day long. Put it on a big piece of paper. Tape it to the cabinets in the kitchen. Tape it to the bathroom mirrors and just read it everywhere. Second, you're going to activate your parasympathetic system. And this is where all of our doTERRA comes in, right? So first, right? You're just going to take a deep breath and take a deep breath with your oils, okay? You're either going to sit down and calm down or go for a slow walk, right? Not a run, because a run is still, right? You got to get your muscles going. It's not encouraging blood flow to the gut. You can go for a stroll, right? But you're not going to go for like a big old power walk. You're going to find physical objects that don't move, right? Because you need that solidifying, okay, that's not moving, that's not going anywhere, whatever. And focus on those things that aren't going to move. You're going to drink water. Water very quickly helps to calm anxiety. And you're going to look at your diet, right? I mentioned that before with the gut. I'm not going big into this. An example that I'll give you from myself, which I may or may not have told you guys before. My son several years ago called me out, got in my face, yelled at me for being like a horrible person. And he made a correlation to a specific time frame when it changed. And I can understand why he felt that way, because he said that as soon as we moved in with Adam, so he was blaming it on Adam. But there were so many other things, okay? We moved in with Adam when we moved from Holland to St. Louis, right? Huge. New life situation, living with another person. I started chiropractic school. My kids were starting a new school, all new people, all new neighbors. I didn't have my family support. So it wasn't just that one thing, even though that's the only thing he saw from it. But there was a lot, right? So I was trying to be really, really, really conscious of making sure that that didn't happen, okay? But I caught myself because there were a couple of times that I was trying to make it not happen, but I couldn't control it. So me being the one that I am, I started thinking about what did I do different? And the only thing that I could connect it to, because I don't do milk, I don't drink milk, I hardly ever have cheese. But during that time frame, I had ice cream twice. And both of those times within 24 hours, I was a psycho bitch. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, it was like uncontrollable. And I realized, I'm like, it's dairy. So I was really, really careful not to have any. And then when I did choose to have it, I made sure that I paid attention to what happened to me the next day, and I controlled it that much more. And then a month later, I started doTERRA. So, so that was pretty incredible. You know, having those tools, you know, I still have those reactions if I have dairy. So I have to go hardcore Terrazyme and hardcore Digestin. Digestin is my savior. That's one of my favorites. But we've got so many tools, you guys. We have, do I need to switch it? Uh-huh. Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy, Shannon? Food can do that big time. But doTERRA has given us so much stuff. I mean, this new adaptive system, it was amazing before, right? The oil, the roller, the supplement. So good. But now this app, I don't know how much you guys have seen it. I don't know if all of you guys have even seen it. But the new app is incredible for helping all of these things. I haven't spent a ton of time in it, but I love that it can help you know, the biomarkers and everything to evaluate your voice, your vocal inflections is incredible. The one thing I haven't figured out, and I want to, you know, maybe some of you guys have a little bit of insight that we can talk about at the end of this. I'm curious about what kind of feedback we get from the biomarkers, because I haven't seen that come through yet. So I'm kind of curious how we get the feedback on what to do if they're sensing problems or whatever. Right? But serenity, okay? Because we need sleep. We need good sleep. We need quality sleep. We need enough sleep. So if that's a problem, right? Serenity, bergamot, vetiver, Roman chamomile, all those different things that can help with sleep. Copaiba, right? Copaiba is so good for calming down that nervous system. Soft gels or the oil, diffuse them, whatever. Balance, right? You need the grounding. And whenever you think about balance, whenever you look at balance, use that as a reminder to get outside, okay? To go out in nature, to go for a walk, to do something. Again, citrus bliss and elevation, love those. I put elevation in my hair every day with a root to tip serum, almost every day. Sometimes I change it up, but not often because it helps that much. Yoga collection, right? Yoga collection does all the things. You've got anchor, align, arise, okay? The emotions collection. They're pretty self-explanatory, right? But you've got some that address the negatives, right? For console, forgive, peace. And then you've got the other ones to help promote the positive, right? Passion, motivate, and cheer. So what I like to do with the emotions collection, and I've had more days in the past 6 weeks that I've used all of them at the same time than I have ever before. I like to pick one that addresses the negative feelings the most and then kind of counter it with one of the positive feelings that I want the most of. So that's kind of how I play those together. And then the floral collection, right? They help with happy hormones, healthy, balanced hormones, and emotions, okay? Like neroli, I was sitting here and it's like, you guys, seriously, I know, slap me in the face, it's fine. I've talked to several of you. I just messaged Crystal about it a couple of weeks ago about neroli because I didn't have it yet, but I'm like, how much do I need to prioritize this, right? Because I've got so many people in my family taking supplements and replacing my oils, and it's like, felt like I ran out of everything at once. I'm like, I really feel like I need to get neroli. Didn't have it. Kept thinking I need it. I asked Crystal, she's like, you should try it. And so I got it in the Mother's Day kit, and I'm like, okay, good, I finally have it. And, you know, I'm still going to add it on my LRP one of these days or get it with points or something. But then I saw today's BOGO, like, you guys, I cried. And I'm like, seriously, I'm like, this is another God wink that, yeah, you do actually need this. So I thought that was incredible. Okay. Oops, where'd I go? So, I mean, right, we've got lots and lots and lots of tools. But we also have this community. Like I mentioned, what my husband said, he's like, when do you have another sizzle? You know, go do your sizzles, right? Community as much as we can. The one thing that makes me most insane with this is that they're like, oh, don't hug people, stay 6 feet away. And I'm like, I'm gonna hug whoever the heck I want to hug. Like, I dropped a sample off at somebody's house last week, over the weekend, whatever. And she came out and the first thing she did was hug me. And it was just kind of like one of those things. I'm like, oh my gosh, are we allowed to do this? You guys, be safe, be smart, know your people. We're okay. And it's still not forwarding. Okay, so what else do we do, right? Third, you guys, we have these gifts of the earth. One of the best things that you can do is share them. because sharing is another way that brings those good, happy, healthy hormone chemicals, right? Releases serotonin. It does the good things for you. Things that make you happy make you healthy. When you're sharing, you're doing something productive, right? I'm not saying you got to go give everybody a 15 ml bottle. Get the tools, right? Get the empty rollers, get some coconut oil, make some samples, just do little sample drams, whatever you need to do, just get these to people, because everybody needs to have these tools, right? We have them, you're using them. Why wouldn't you let somebody else use them? Okay. They need them for themselves. They need them for their families. There's so much momentum right now. I don't know what you guys' BOGO's week have been like. My sales doubled yesterday, and I hit Premier organically for the first time in a year and a half, you guys. And I didn't even have to put effort into it. Like I have 3 enrollments from the last 2 days that I can figure out where to place to help me get silver this month, because I'm going to hit silver for the first time, and it's going to be incredible. But, right, true freedom, right? Romy's hashtag, true freedom inspires a ripple effect. And I am a ripple, okay? We all are. That's why we're here, because of what Romy did. Romy shared a drop, and she shared another drop with all the different people, and we're all from different legs, but we're part of one community that's all on the same mission, okay? So true freedom inspires a ripple effect, and I am a ripple. And how can you be that ripple effect to somebody else, okay? We're Romy's rock stars, and we're one of the strongest and closest teams in all of doTERRA from everything that I hear. And I know people from cross lines and stuff like that, because people think I'm a diamond, and I've been getting friend requests from people all over freaking doTERRA, and I'm like, I don't even know who people are, but okay. Right? That's what we do. That's why we're on these calls, because we're locking arms and we're moving forward. So what I got for you guys. Guys have questions? I'll stop the screen share a minute. So I don't know if you guys have questions, comments, or whatever. Hey,
You
you
want me to leave the recording on or off?
It's up to people if they want to be recorded asking questions.
I'm gonna kill it.
Okay.